My advisory role at NIAC, which I used to have, is because I am an expert on religion and politics. So I advise the Plowshares Fund. I advise NIAC. I advise the fucking State Department. I advise actual Congress people who are making these decisions about what to do with Iran. I'm an expert in Iran, so I advise those groups. I have no loyalty or membership to NIAC. I'm not here to speak for NIAC.
To be fair, you don't advise the other side, though. You're strictly advising the progressive side. You're not advising
100%,
which they support the nuclear deal, which you support as well.
100% support the nuclear deal.
So you support negotiating with a nation that says "Marg bar Amerika," death upon America. You're comfortable negotiating with a country that hates us.
Reza Aslan was a guest on Patrick Bet-David's show to talk about diplomacy with Iran, which, surprise, surprise, Patrick Bet-David is not in favor of. It's a very timely conversation. We're going to take a look at these clips of Reza Aslan on Patrick Bet-David's show. I will share my thoughts on this as well. Let's get into it together.
Oh, I'm sorry. Who do we negotiate? We only negotiate with countries that love us? Is that how negotiations work? Have you heard of the phrase diplomacy?
But diplomacy,
there is no negotiation with a country that actually agrees with you.
But
we negotiate with countries that disagree with us.
I totally get that. But for the most part, the countries we negotiate with that disagree with us, they don't say death upon Americans. Iran says death upon Americans, the top of the Iran. This is not even the people in the streets.
Who gives a fuck? So what?
So give them $150 billion? That's a valid concern. That's a valid question.
First of all, it's their money that we are releasing in exchange for removing nuclear weapons from Iran. How do you suggest we remove nuclear weapons from Iran, Patrick?
Okay, I have ideas for you.
I
can give it to you. Not to remove nuclear weapons. First of all, do you believe no matter whether we give them the money or not, they're not going to continue working on nuclear weapons?
They literally didn't. Hold on. Nope. We're not going to move past this until we establish the facts. The JCPOA, which was negotiated by the United States, Russia, China, the Security Council, and Germany, which is extraordinary. The idea that those 5 countries came together and the European Union and agreed on anything, let alone agreed on this absolutely remarkable deal under the Obama administration to remove all the enriched uranium out of Iran. There is zero doubt that that worked. Zero. The IAEA came out in no uncertain terms and said, within 12 months of that deal being put in place, Iran no longer had the enriched uranium to create a nuclear bomb. Within 12 months...
You have to be naive to believe that.
Okay.
You have to be,
right.
but fair enough. Let's buy into the naivete and move forward.
Okay,
let's just say you're right. Let's say you're right.
Let's not believe the people on the ground who are actually monitoring the nuclear plants.
To believe somebody that believes in the values that they do, yes, I don't believe that.
So Patrick Bet-David, in his mind, knows more than all of these experts like Reza Aslan is saying, that we're actually on the ground negotiating these deals. But like Reza Aslan says, who cares if Iran likes the United States or not? You know, we have Donald Trump doing one thing that I would slightly disagree with Reza Aslan is he says, well, you know, you don't negotiate with your allies, you're negotiating with your enemies, essentially. But we've got Donald Trump who wants to fight with our allies like Canada, which is just insane. But who cares if they like us or not? Iran hasn't done anything to us. They haven't invaded us. They haven't attacked us. And all of the hawks and MAGA types like Patrick Bet-David want to go to war with them when, as Reza Aslan says, under the Obama administration, we had an agreement that was working. But of course, Donald Trump has to come in and tear that up because anything that Barack Obama had done that was successful has to be destroyed and overturned.
You would have chosen to come to...
I think you've got a nostalgia for the days of the Shah.
I don't have a nostalgia.
Me a lot of like Make America Great Again.
But this to me takes you back to why NIAC gets the criticism that it does. Because for you, you're saying give $150 billion to those guys, to Iran. It's their money.
No,
it's their money anyways. But you're saying it's their money anyways.
No, you're putting words in my mouth.
Begu.
We have 2 options with Iran's nuclear program. 2 options and nothing else. 2 options, period.
We have a third option.
What's the third option?
I'll give you the third option.
Option one, we blow the shit out of it.
Okay.
Option two, we use negotiation and diplomacy. What's your third option?
Very simple. It's very simple what you do with option three. Option three is the same exact thing that happened in different nations. Iran is going through a potential revolution today.
Hold on. I want to make it clear.
Please.
I am talking about 2012. I am not talking about 2022. I have never said we should renegotiate the nuclear program now. You're asking me, did I support the JCPOA
versus today?
Today,
Well,
there's no country to negotiate
let me
with.
tell you.
But let me make sure
I'm glad you
before
clarified
Twitter
that.
loses its fucking mind.
I'm glad you clarified that.
I am not saying
Fair.
that
You're
we
going back
should
10
be
years.
negotiating
Fair.
now.
So then
Was it right in 2012? 100%.
Let me
it
make
was
my
right.
point. Let me make my point on what I'm thinking. And I want to hear your rebuttal on this and your argument on this. For me, it's the following. Have you heard of John Perkins, the economic hitman guy, the author? He's a hardcore
right,
progressive.
yeah.
Very, very interesting guy. I had him on 2 times. I really like talking to that guy. And it's very interesting, his arguments, what they did, to cause nations to go down. Do you think the current model and the government today in Iran is good for its people and good for the world?
Fuck no.
Okay, fair. We're on the same page. So is it fair to say that if we can figure out a way to help the Iranian people, not the government, the Iranian people to cause a fall in Iran, that's probably a good, noble thing for us to do.
That has been my goal for 20 years.
Fantastic. Then if doing that, your mission of wanting to do that, which NIAC's mission is for the people, policy to help with the people, that doesn't align with the rulers and the president and the people that run Iran. You guys don't share a common value.
You disagree. You're wrong. You're absolutely
So you're
wrong.
telling me the foreign minister Javad Zarif, like you're saying his ideal situation is to bring democracy to Iran?
No. What you're saying is, can we pursue policies in the United States to help the people of Iran? And have we been? My answer is we have not been. We have not. 40 years of blanket sanctions has not helped the people of Iran. It has only entrenched the government further. And there's reams of academic data that indicates that. The question is, does the, for instance, nuclear deal, the JCPOA in 2012, would that have helped the government or the people? And there is very good, real, meaningful arguments to be made that it would only help the government. I disagree, because there are much better arguments that it would only help people. Why? Goes back to your God, capitalism, the free market. The Iranian people live in an oppressive, murderous, theocratic regime. And as a part of American policy, we have decided that we're going to blanket sanction everyone in the hopes that eventually they'll rise up and take down their government.
No.
4 decades. 4 decades we've been doing that.
And this is another thing that right-wingers like Patrick Bet-David never seem to understand. Sanctions don't work in terms of getting the people to rise up. The people just become more oppressed and have no power, and the leaders of the country are still rich and wealthy. The sanctions never affect them. It always affects the people. And it's pretty easy for the leaders of the country to say, look at what the Americans are doing to you. They put the sanctions on you and on our country, and now you're poor and you can't get products and things like that. So it doesn't create a desire among the citizenry to want to be more like the United States that Reza Aslan is going to get to here. You lift sanctions and try to appeal to the people through capitalism, to get the people buying Levi's jeans or whatever, whatever the symbols of the United States are. Theoretically, the people want more freedom, and then maybe they try to overturn the government. But sanctions aren't going to do it. Sanctions, we continually do sanctions around the world, and it never benefits the people of those countries. It never causes the people to rise up the way that Patrick Bet-David and right-wingers and MAGA types like him think it will. And I'm sure Patrick Bet-David is in favor of regime change, which we've already done previously in Iran. And we do regime change in these countries, and it almost always makes things worse.
So if I negotiate with a murderer, you think he's accustomed to following the rules. If I negotiate with a nation, with a government like theirs, you think they follow what's in the contracts? There's
simple.
No way you believe that.
I understand that you have this mystical view of what the Iranian government is that exists in this kind of existential
I just
plane
listen
of
to what
evil.
they say. No, I just listen to what they say.
But they
you don't
are
think they're
actual
evil.
people who care about their own livelihood and they care about nothing else.
I do think they care about their livelihood. The government people care about their wealth. I do agree with you.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I'm talking about its people. That's what I'm talking about.
And what I'm saying is, right now, we have nothing but the stick. We have no carrot at all in Iran. There's nothing that
you're giving carrot to the wrong guy. You're giving carrot to the guy that's got plenty of carrots. He's been overdosing on carrot.
We're giving carrot to the economy.
No, you're not giving a carrot to the economy.
Here's how interdependent
I'm a Syrian Armenian. I'm a Syrian and Armenian. Let me tell you what both sides will say. You ready? Here's a criticism. Both sides will say. And I want to wrap it up. We'll go off. If you're up for part 2, 3 hours, I'm up for bringing you back. You have no idea how much I've enjoyed it. I'm being serious with you.
Serious.
Okay. So I'll tell you this. Armenian, Assyrian. Bet David, Bogosian. Bet David, Assyrian, Bogosian, Armeni. Okay? You know, every time when people say, hey, let me tell you what's going on. Send money to this charity. Send money to go help the Assyrians. How come you're not giving money here? And I'll send money. You know what both sides of my family will say? Never send money. You know why?
Because it goes to the wrong people.
Because it never goes to its people.
Yes.
You said it. You know this reputation. So if you and I are giving money, 150 billion to the government, we have to be naive to believe it's going to end up to its people. That's what I'm saying.
It's not going to end up to its people, and that's
we're strengthening
JCPOA,
that.
It's something different.
Okay, anyway.
But hold on. I need to say one last thing, because if you probably know anything about me, you know that I get cut up and re-edited, and there's an entire industry online meant to make me look in a certain way.
That's not us. We don't do that.
I want to say something. I want to say a final word here because it's very important.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that this final word will make it. I have absolutely nothing but loathing for the Iranian government, for the Islamic Republic. It is a murderous, terroristic regime that slaughters its own children. It has no legitimacy whatsoever. It belongs in the dustbin of history. The only proper response of this current revolution, and it is a revolution, is not for reform. It's not for a little bit more rights. It's to burn the whole thing down and start all over again, and I wholeheartedly support that. The question is, how do we empower those young people? How do we give them the tools necessary in order to burn it down?
Okay.
And Patrick Bet David, more than one time during these clips that I showed here, throws out this right-wing lie that the United States gave $150 billion to Iran. The United States didn't give $150 billion to Iran. It was money that was seized from Iran, so it was their money. And then when they agreed to the nuclear deal under President Obama, then that money was released back to them. So they just gave their money back to them. That's not giving money of the United States to Iran. So this is a lie on the part of Patrick Bet David. And whether you like that deal or not, lying and claiming that the United States just gave $150 billion of U.S. taxpayer money to Iran is not true. So Patrick Bet David isn't an honest actor right off the bat with it. And I feel like Reza Aslan gives a very nuanced approach and nuanced answers on Patrick Bet David's show, which of course doesn't work in our black and white Coke versus Pepsi world. He's saying, I don't like Iran's government. This is a horrible regime. But we had a deal under Barack Obama that was working to try to keep Iran from developing a nuclear weapon, and our moron president that we have in office now, Donald Trump, goes in and tears it up. And even with all of that, and even now that Donald Trump and Israel have attacked Iran, are they still any real threat to us? This is what the bloodthirsty right-wingers like Patrick Bet David and these other MAGA types, war is their answer to everything. We've been hearing about the threat of Iran for decades and decades. And what real threat is Iran to the United States? Are they going to invade us? No. Are they going to launch nuclear? They don't have ICBMs or whatever to come over to the United States and bomb us. So what threat are they to us? They're a threat to our troops that are over there in the Middle East where we shouldn't be, but they're no threat to the people of the United States of America. But you're not going to convince right-wingers like Patrick Bet David of this. Let me know what you think about all this. Let me know what you think about this conversation between Reza Aslan and Patrick Bet-David on Patrick Bet-David Show. Whose side are you on? Make sure to give me a like and subscribe. I'm Chris on Culture, and I will see you in the next video.